Hi, I'm Erik Voss, and Netflix's The Punisher just released a new trailer, and oh man, it looks wild. Now I'm gonna break down all the details you might have missed, the deeper meaning of the song choice Metallica's won, and some clues about the release date. Yeah, I know, Netflix is being real coy about their clever redaction imagery, but the truth must be taken. And in case you don't want too much of that truth to be taken and you want to be surprised when you watch The Punisher, spoiler warning, like why are you watching this video? Anyway, let's get started.
There's plenty of time now that you're home.
Oh, good lord. Okay, so this trailer opens with these warm, surreal flashbacks of Frank Castle's family, including some shots of them on this carousel in Central Park. Now, in the comics, Central Park is a key location for Castle. It's where his wife and kids were murdered. This carousel was also the setting for a major Frank Castle fight in Daredevil Season 2. However, in the comics, it was the Mafia who killed his family for witnessing a crime, whereas it looks like the TV version might be retconned to make it more of a corrupt CIA Black Ops assassination thing. Like that might be why we see Castle's wife get killed in his bedroom. And these opening trailer shots do some interesting visual tricks that make me really excited for the way the series is gonna look. For example, notice the jump cut from Castle teaching his daughter to play guitar to Castle playing the guitar alone. It's like for Castle, each object abruptly triggers a memory of what he lost. These Netflix Marvel shows have done a lot of cool stuff with the color grading, and it looks like the Punisher will be following suit. Notice these warm yellow tones of these memories. For Castle, the color yellow here signifies the safety and comfort that was taken from him when his family was murdered. And of course, we gotta talk about the music here. These are the opening notes of Metallica's One from the Injustice for All album. And notice how they changed this opening part from electric guitar to acoustic.
The cerebrum has suffered massive and irreparable damage.
And I think they did this to make these opening images feel more reflective and subdued, which sets up a nice contrast to when the more familiar metal sounds kick in later. And I'll get to this song's deeper meaning when we get there, but let's move on.
Shoot on sight.
My pleasure. What do you know about my family?
I don't know anything.
Fair enough.
Okay, in this section, we get this establishing shot of Hell's Kitchen, New York. And I was talking about the use of color earlier, and take a look at the sky here. Those warm yellow tones from before are now being overtaken by these blue storm clouds. In Daredevil Season 2, Castle was often color graded with blue as a way to visually contrast him with Daredevil's red tones. And this cityscape shot is showing how Castle's emotional storm is looming over Hell's Kitchen. Now, you probably noticed how this trailer features some awesome sound editing, with the clicks and pops of Castle loading and firing his weapons synced with Lars Ulrich's drum beats from the song. Now, this kind of editing has been showing up more and more in trailers lately, like you may remember it from the Suicide Squad trailer and the Justice League trailer. But I like how in this case, the editing is actually inspired by the theme of the music. When co-writing this song, James Hetfield from Metallica said they were actually inspired by a machine gun. And I love Castle's line here.
Shoot on sight.
My pleasure.
The fact that he's responding to them right now means that he's hacked into their radio frequency, listening in, kind of like the way John McClane does in Die Hard. This actually might be connected to that other promo footage we saw with Micro and Castle hacking into the soldiers' body cams. And pausing real quick on this awesome upward shot of Castle with the Punisher skull shirt, notice the two holes in the skull. Now, I love how these bullet holes with the bullets stopped in Castle's vest end up becoming part of this skull design. It's almost like Castle's head has a few dings and scars on it, but that just becomes part of his armor as a character. Okay, let's move on.
They killed my family to get to me. I was part of a covert CIA operation. The man in charge wants to meet that. Homeland. The FBI. Everybody's part of this.
Okay, this section gives us more context for the story of this season. This bald guy is Rawlins. He's the shady head of the CIA unit that's targeting Castle. Now in the comics, Rawlins is a CIA guy who's committed a whole bunch of war crimes. He's pretty awful. And in the show universe, it sounds like he might be previous partners with the Blacksmith, the villain Castle targeted in season 2 of Daredevil. Now looking at these interrogation images, it appears that Castle is being tortured with these blunt tools like a hacksaw and pliers and a blowtorch. And it looks like he's reliving this memory by watching it on footage on Micro's computer. And notice how it's under the file name Zubair interrogation. Now I don't really know what Zubair refers to. Maybe it's some mission location where Castle's old unit was sent, or some CIA code name. Anyway, this whole dark government conspiracy sounds like it'll be the driving force of the narrative, with Castle uncovering the mystery with the help of Micro, the hacker whistleblower figure. In the comics, he goes by the name Microchip, and he'll be teaming up again with Karen Page. I assume she'll be using her journalistic skills to shed light on this whole mystery. And it actually looks like multiple government agencies are part of this conspiracy, including the Department of Homeland Security. It looks like we'll be introduced to the DHS through this new character, Dinah Madani. And if you look closely here, you can see Ben Barnes' character coming out of the elevator. Now he's playing Billy Russo, aka Jigsaw, who's Punisher's arch nemesis from the comics. He's named Jigsaw because he used to have this pretty boy face until Punisher drove his face through a window and left him with all these scars. But in this series, he's gonna be a private contractor, mercenary, and head of the Anvil Corporation. And before I move on, I'm getting some Major Logan vibes from this shot of Castle bloodied up in front of the sink. Remember, Logan's first trailer also began with an acoustic cover of a metal rock song.
I hurt myself today.
And judging from the tone of this Punisher trailer, it seems like this show is being inspired by Logan's gritty, redemptive story arc. Moving on.
You and me, we want the same thing. So work with me.
On one condition. I'm gonna kill them all.
Yeah, I can live with that.
Okay, so after this great introduction of Micro, the action picks up here. I think my favorite move in this section is Castle using the fire hose to plunge down a stairwell, which seems like a combination of two figures that might be inspiring Castle's character this season. I mentioned John McClane before, but yeah, this is another thing that he does in Die Hard, but also Jason Bourne from The Bourne Identity. And yeah, if you think about it, Jon Bernthal's Frank Castle is kind of a mix of this New York City anti-hero operating outside of the law, but also a former Black Ops assassin on the run from the same organization he used to work for. We also hear Metallica's intense bridge section of the song, which brings us to the deeper meaning of One. So these lyrics are from the point of view of a World War I soldier who lost his limbs from a landmine, as well as his hearing, sight, and speech. So he develops a system to tap Morse code to the hospital staff to just let him die. And yeah, this is super dark, but this is exactly the type of PTSD Castle is suffering from psychologically. His trauma has left him in a state where he doesn't really feel alive. He's just stuck in this living hell. Which, yeah, is kind of a downer, but it'll be cool to see a character with real motivation. Let's move on.
You're gonna see your family real soon.
Wow, okay, in this section, notice how Castle never stops moving. He just takes headshot after headshot. I feel like this action was inspired by the John Wick movies, which have a similar fluid movement to them. There's also a quick shot of blood splashing on the carousel horse. Now this shot seems super impressionistic to me, kind of like that shot of Castle's wife getting executed. And I have a feeling that both of these shots are gonna end up being surreal nightmare visions for Castle rather than literal flashbacks showing how his family actually died. Check out this roar that Bernthal lets out as he gets really pissed off at this pillar. Jon Bernthal might be my favorite casting choice of all the characters in the Netflix Marvel properties. Unlike some of the pretty boys that Marvel has gone with in the past, Bernthal is so good about conveying this raw, brute rage and marine precision that we need to see in the Punisher character. Like, I'm legit scared of this guy. Okay, let's move on to this final section.
Frank Castle's back.
The Punisher, he's dead.
Just look like the work of a dead man to you.
Okay, so in this last bit, we get a cameo by Detective Brett Mahoney. Glad to see him returning. Now take a look at the room that he's in here. This looks like the same location that we saw blow up earlier in the trailer. By the way, I love that that blast flipped a heavy two-seater feet in the air, but on the coffee table, the flowers are still standing. Now to me, it looked like Karen Page was in that room. Maybe it was someone else. Thinking if it was her, maybe she was talking to some protected government source for a story. Now I don't see why Castle would want to attack Karen, so I'm thinking this could be Russo or Rawlins trying to kill the story and the people writing it by making it look like one of Punisher's acts of terror. Now the final thing we see is this mysterious release date, 2017, with the month and day redacted. Now as much as I love this visual motif of censored top secret government documents and all of these Punisher promo art pieces, this is killing me. Like there's only 3 months left in 2017. Why hold out on us like this? Now at first I thought maybe some of those flashing numbers or letters could form a code that reveals the actual date, and maybe they do, but I don't have time for that. So let's just think logically about this. Now I'm assuming Netflix wouldn't be releasing The Punisher in the month of October. It's a little soon, and it would steal some of Stranger Things' thunder. Season 2 of Stranger Things comes out on October 27th, so that would push things back to November. Now Netflix series tend to drop on Fridays, and November 3rd is the premiere of Thor Ragnarok, and I just don't think Marvel would want to compete with itself like that. And then 2 weeks after that, November 17th is the premiere of Justice League, and I don't think Marvel would want to compete with that either. So with November 24th being the Thanksgiving holiday, I think that leaves November 10th as a solid guess for the release date. That's actually a really appropriate day because it's right before Veterans Day, November 11th, and November 10th is the birthday of the Marine Corps. So it's looking pretty good, but I'm sure we'll find out for sure soon enough. Do you think The Punisher could be the best Marvel Netflix series? This trailer does make it look really promising, and I have high hopes that it can restore the brand back to its roots. Weigh in the comments below, or by tweeting me at Erik Voss, or you can follow New Rockstars on Twitter at New Rockstars for updates on our videos. Share this video and subscribe to this channel for more videos about Marvel news, and if you really like us, you can contribute to us on Patreon. Big thanks to all of our current donors, especially Pony Stark. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.